Okay. So very good morning to all of you. So today we are going to start with the lecture on advanced system security and digital forensics. So if you remember in the previous lecture, we did started with the malware, that is the malicious code. And then in the malicious code, we have seen the trapdoors. And then we went into understanding on logic bombs, right? So in today's lecture, we are going to take it forward and we are going to see what are the various others malicious code and how they try to make sure to make to harm our victim, right? So that is what we are going to learn in today's lecture. So let me just start with the lecture. Let me just turn on the slide. Okay, so today's lecture we are going to start with the next type of the malicious code, which we call it as a Trojan horse. So now Trojan horse is again very popular, and it is a kind of which has a lot of damage. So it is a kind of a malware which creates or which lets you know with a lot of damage to a system. So this is an image that has been taken from actually where the word of Trojan has came into picture. So anyone who can tell me what they understand by looking at the picture, what they understand? What do you think? What is being mentioned here, or what is trying to say? If anyone can attempt or try to do that. Anyone, any answer? What I can understand by looking at the figure that has been shown on the slide. Okay, so Sajjad is writing horse statue, and inside that statue there were soldiers. Yes, Sajjad, you are on the right path, right? To be precise, it was actually if you can tell me, I can tell you the story what actually happened, or if any one of you can tell me from where the word of Trojan horse came into picture. So yes, very good, Sajjad. It was Greek was right. So it was once upon a time there was an Asian city which was on the coast of Turkey, and that city name was named as Troy. Now at that time, when the king of Sparta, that is Sparta was actually in the Greece, he heard that his wife, the wife name was the beautiful Helen. So she had been kidnapped by the prince of Troy, and so he called the other Greek city states to help him to get her back. So then they decided what can be done. So the city of Troy at that time was protected by a high wall that was built around the city. And to be precise, that wall was so high that even that were so high, like 20 feet high. So it was not easy for anyone to go inside of the same. And also there were gates in the wall to let people in and out. But then it provided great defense for the people of Troy. So now there was nothing, they could not find anything, and the things looked worse until Odyssey. Now there was something called as an Odyssey, who was at that time an ancient, I think, Greek general. He came out with a solution, or he came out with a trick. He suggested that Greek should build a huge, heavy, beautiful wooden horse. So in the image you can see it is a big wooden horse, and uh, inside a wooden horse, there are total 30, to be precise, 30 men would be hiding inside. And the Trojan thought that it is a horse is a gift and took that it inside and gave it at a pride of a place. Okay. So since it was looking very nice and at the same time, if you see, it was as a gift. So the Trojans or the people of Troy dragged the heavy horse inside the city and they put it on a display. Now that night, while all the Trojan people were sleeping, the men inside there were there inside the wooden house climbed out and they opened the gate. And since they opened the gate, the Greek army entered the Troy, and then this was the end of the Troy story. So a very good story from where actually the word has came into picture. It means there are people who are hiding inside the horse, and then they will come out. Probably they think when it's a time to be coming out of it. So very good story. The same way, the concept of Trojan horse has been come here as well, right? Obviously, the meaning is the thing is different, but obviously it is trying to show you the same thing what is being conveyed, right? So it is harming a system without getting noticed. So again, the same thing it happens. So let us see what actually is happened. So what is again in Trojan horse? So when in this is when we say in computing, a Trojan horse is nothing but a program that is downloaded and installed on a computer. At initial stage, it looks very harmless. So you'll not come to know because it is not going to make effect in your system. So when it gets installed on a computer, it will affect harmless, but in fact it is malicious. Okay. So in fact it is a malicious. Typically, the Trojan horse is an I can say it's an hidden in an innocent looking email attachment or a free download. So normally we have a tendency to download whatever it's a free. Maybe it's a movie or whatever it is. Maybe a movie or maybe a playing a free games. We always have a tendency to play for free or to have it for free. But as I always say, nothing in this life is for free. But still, we now normally do not take care of it, and it does not get noticed also because it is not affecting your system at initial stages. So this Trojan horse is hiding in an innocent looking email attachment or the free download. Now, when the user clicks on the email attachment or whenever the user downloads the free program, the malware that is hidden inside is transferred to the user's computing device. Okay, so one it is transferred to the user's computing device, then actually the thing of Trojan horse starts. So once inside, the malicious code can execute whatever task the attacker has designed to carry out. So depending on what the attacker wants to do, the Trojan horse will perform the activity once it gets available in your machine, right? So when it gets transferred to your machine, then it will execute whatever the task has been given by an attacker or whatever the attacker wants to carry out with the task, right? So this is what actually happens with the case of the Trojan horse. So Trojan horse is again I can say it's a kind of a malware, which is a program which is downloaded and installed on a computer. But then at initial stage, it looks very harmless because it is not going to affect any of the system. But then once it's get transferred to your machine, maybe through an email attachment or maybe through a free download, the malware that is hidden is transferred to the user device. And once it is inside in your machine, this malicious code will execute whatever task is been done by the attacker. Now, how it is going to be dreadful, we are going to see probably when we are going to take the topic of a zombie. So in the further slide, you will have a topic called as a zombie. And in case of a zombie, how Trojan horse can be very dangerous that we are going to see. So any doubt so far Trojan is concerned? Or else we'll move to the next kind of a malware, which is a virus. Any doubt as the Trojan horse is concerned? Okay, okay, thank you, Google. So now, yeah, thank you, Saurabh. Now, since we have seen what is a Trojan horse, next comes is a virus. Now, I hope we all of us have heard the virus several times, and most of us do also have an antivirus software. Some of you might be using that AVG free antivirus, or some of you might have purchased an antivirus. So we know why how antivirus is and why we are supposed to have an antivirus software and what happens with the virus. I think we all of us are familiar with, right? So I think there is nothing new when I speak about viruses because this is what we all have faced somewhere or the other, and sometimes it is so danger that because if some file or gets corrupted or if something gets wrong, we do not have another thing to do other than formatting a machine. So it can be that danger that it can affect or it can alter the program a way a computer operates. So let us see what a definition of a virus says. So computer virus is a type of malicious code, or I can say it is a program that is written to alter the way a computer operates, right? So it is what the definition says. So it is a type of a malicious code, or it's a program that is written to alter the way a computer operates. So what do we mean by that? So in the simple terms, I can say that it is designed to spread from one computer to another computer. So it is designed for that. So how it does? So a virus operates by inserting or attaching itself to a legitimate program. Now, how the virus gets itself attached itself to a legitimate program or the document, we are going to see again in the further slides. But then it operates by doing this. That is by inserting itself or attaching itself to a legitimate program. So now, since whenever you try to open a legitimate program, it is going to affect the system because at the end, it has been already affected with the help of a virus. So any virus will be by definition will make unauthorized changes to your computer and then which is undesirable even if no damage is done or intended, right? So it is a virus that will make any unauthorized changes to your computer and then it will do any undesired effect even if you have intended or even if you have not intended, right? So another definition about the virus is that it is a hidden self-replicating section of a computer software, usually malicious, that propagates by infecting, that is, inserting a copy of itself into and becoming part of another program. So it is nothing but a virus that cannot run by itself, but it requires that its host program be run to make the virus active. So whenever we speak about the virus, it is always necessary that the host program should be run so that the virus can become active, right? Any doubt as a virus is concerned? Okay, I think you don't have any doubt so far. Okay, fine. So now let us see what are the types of viruses. Now, whenever we speak about the type of viruses, these are some of the types of viruses that you have, where you have memory resident virus, program file virus, then you have a polymorphic virus, boot sector virus, stealth virus, and you have a macro virus. Now, let us see each one of them and understand. Now, whenever we say a memory resident virus, it is a virus which is logged in main memory as a part of the resident system. So what it does is, it is a type of virus that stays in your main memory, which can be again as a part of the resident system. So if it stays in the memory, we call it as a memory resident virus. Second type of virus is the program file. Now, a program file is a type of a virus which infects itself to any system file. Maybe it gets attached to the exe file that you have downloaded in your machine. It's an exe file or maybe a system file, right? So such kind of virus we get attached to us, maybe a system file or maybe an executable file. We called that type of viruses as a program file. The third type of a virus is a polymorphic virus. Now, polymorphic virus are dangerous amongst all. Now, what happens in case of a polymorphic virus is they are the file infectors that can create the modified version of itself. Now, why do they create the modified version? Now, every time when you run a program, whenever a virus gets activated, it creates modified version of itself, so that even the antivirus software will not be able to detect. Because every time it changes its pattern, it becomes very difficult even for the antivirus software to detect. So this is again some kind of a virus which is very complex, and because of that, it creates the modified version, and because of that, it becomes very difficult to detect. But still, it will retain the same basic features after every infection, right? So in case of the polymorphic virus, the code changes itself each time it runs, but again, the function of the code, that is the function of the virus, still remains the same, right? Next, we have a boot sector virus. A boot sector virus is a kind of a virus which infects the area of disk that where the disk is booted. So initially, when we load the program and when we turn on the machine, bootloader, instead of starting with the bootloader, what happens is the virus will get activated first, and then it is going to run all the programs so that it will have an impact on running your OS or turning on your system. So it is a virus which affects your boot sector, where from where your disk is booted. That is called as a boot sector virus. Fifth type of virus is called as a stilt virus. Now, stilt virus is a kind of a virus which has an habit to hide itself. So whenever you have an antivirus software, it tries to hide itself so that this virus will not get detected. So that comes under the category of a stilt virus. And the last one, it's a macro virus. Now, macro virus is again a computer virus, which is written in the same macro language. I hope you might be knowing, you might have seen this word macro somewhere. Anyone who can just have an idea of what is macro and where you have heard it? Have you ever heard the word macro somewhere? Okay, so there is the microprocessors. Okay, now I'm telling you. Okay, anyone has any other answer? Okay, no problem. So I'll tell you. Uh, okay, fine. So probably if you've ever worked on Microsoft Excel, I think it's a kind of a software you might be using on a daily basis. Probably a Microsoft Excel, or maybe you might have worked on the word processor such as Microsoft Word. Now there also you have a concept of macro, right? So now it is the same. It's a kind of a computer virus which is written in the same macro language, which is used by most of the used by the popular software program like Microsoft Excel or Microsoft Word. Now what happens is whenever the micro virus infects a software application, what it does is it causes a sequence of action to begin automatically, right? That is actually the work of a macro which is used in a macro. Probably when you make use in the case of a Microsoft Excel or Microsoft Word, what we do is it actually causes a sequence of actions to begin automatically. The same way a microvirus does it. What it does it causes a sequence of action to begin automatically when the application is opened. So whenever an application gets opened, a sequence of actions start running whenever the application gets opened. So now the example, to be precise, about a microvirus, I can tell a very popular, it was a virus, which was the name as Melissa virus. If you've ever heard the name of a virus called as a Melissa virus. So a Melissa virus was the virus which appeared in March 1999, to be precise. So I don't know if you have ever heard at that time. At that time, it was a very famous kind of that everyone of us knew, and it was the most popular microvirus. That was a Melissa virus. So what this Melissa virus used to do is, whenever a user opened a Microsoft Word document containing the Melissa virus, that computer used to get affected or the infected. And what happens because of that is the virus then used to send itself the email to all the first 50 people that were there in the person's address book. So in the address book, if there are say 200 or 500 kind of an email address of your contacts, so it used to send an email on himself. So this is how a virus was. That was a Melissa virus, right? So it was a kind of uh, the virus that actually used to do such kind of thing by attaching itself to the email and then sending the email to first 50 people that it used to find in the people's address book, right? So these are all about the types of viruses. Now let us go to the next slide where we are going to see how the virus gets attached to a program. It's very important. So probably you should be aware that how what happens actually again with the virus and how the virus get attached to itself. So any doubt in the type of viruses? So far, any doubt? Okay, okay, fine. So now, okay, thank you Google for the update. Now, let us go to the next slide. Here we are going to see how virus appends to a program. So now, if you can see on the first, if you see it's an original image, original program. So I have a very good legitimate original program initially. I can say this is my original program. So original program is what it's my intended program which I wanted to be a legitimate program without any virus or without any affecting it. What the virus does is, so whenever with the original program, if you append a virus which is called as infected program of a virus. So if you can see how actually happens is a program virus attach itself to a program whenever the program is run. So whenever the program is run, the virus is activated, right? So this is the image which is again used to design and implement. So what happens is a virus inserts a copy of itself into an executable program file before the first executable instruction. So before the original program starts, this is a virus that gets appended to the original program, and it is the first that gets started, and then you can see an original program that gets activated. So now obviously if the virus activates first and then it's an original program that gets started next, then obviously the program is an infected, and then obviously it is not going to run the way it is supposed to be, right? So a virus inserts a copy of itself into an executable program file before the first executable instruction. Then all the virus instructions execute first. Now after all the virus instructions are executed first, then after the last virus instruction gets over, control is transferred back to the original program, and then it starts. So initially it used to have that way that original program should have started with, but then in this case the virus code is the one that gets executed first, and then after the virus execution is over, then your original program gets starts. So this is the one way in which the virus appends to a program. Now then let us see a second type, which is again more dangerous than this, is virus surrounding a program. Now what it does is, can anyone of you tell me what is a drawback in this kind of uh, the implementation? Anything you would feel that something is not correct in this? Okay, okay, fine. Uh, to answer this, I will go to the next slide first. Yes, Ajay, yes, that is what I was talking about. Virus code can be seen by anyone. Now, what actually happens is your virus runs first, then your original programs runs next, and then your antivirus software might be able to find out what your virus is. But then, if I do something where my virus gets run first, then I'll affect the original program, and then I'll remove the virus. Then it will be very difficult for the antivirus software to identify. So next example, we are going to see another type about how the virus surrounds the program. Yeah, so this is the figure of the second type where the virus is surrounding a program. Now this is an alternative to the attachment is a virus that runs the original program, but then it has a control before and after its execution. Right, you can see you have a virus code part 1a, it is written that way. Then you have an original program, and then you have a virus code that is part b, right? So in this case you have the attachment in both the ways, where you can see the virus runs the original program, but then it has a control before and after its execution. So for example, the virus writer or the attacker might want to prevent the virus uh, from getting detected. Now, if he is not interested of getting it detected, so what he can do is he can use this kind of a mechanism. Okay, so if the virus is stored on the disk, its presence will be given away by its file name. or its size will affect the amount of space used on the disk. Now, to hide himself, there is another solution of surrounding a program. Because if that is not happening, then there are chances that if there is only a virus code and the original program, then it might affect the name of the file, or it is possible that its size may affect. Suddenly there is an increase in the size of a file and it can be caught, right? But then if I do not want that to be happen, what I can do is I can have a kind of a virus code that is executing, then the original program, and then at the end again you have a virus code written, so that it will not be detected by anyone, and even it will not affect this file of size file. So this is again a second type in which how the virus surrounds the program. I hope it is clear so far. Now, after this, we are going to see the third type where it is trying to behave more smartly. What happens is, in this case, the virus integrates itself into a program. Now, what actually happens? What is the meaning? What is the meaning of it? That the virus integrates itself into a program. Let us see. So, this is a third type where the virus integrates itself to a program. So what actually happens, if you can see here, is this is again more difficult to detect. Now what it happens is you have an original program, and now the virus is not written at the start of the program or at the end of the program. There is no concept like appending a program, virus appending at the starting, or there is no concept like surrounding a program. Here the virus is integrated into a program. Now what is the meaning of integrating a program? What happens is, so when I say it's an integrating a program, it means what it happens is the virus here replaces some of its target, integrating itself into the original code of the target. So what it happens is, if you can see in an entire program that is running, in between, first if you can see in between it writes some of the virus code. Then you can see there is some code of virus. Then you can see here with some of them. Now because of this, what actually happens is it becomes very difficult, I can say impossible to detect, right? So this is actually a virus that can integrate into a program. Here the virus writer, but the problem again when we speak about how difficult it is to write, because here the virus writer has to know what is the exact structure of the original program. He cannot directly take a program and attach wherever he wanted to, because at the end the program should run. So now here the virus writer has to know what is the exact structure of the original program. Now if he knows what is the exact structure of the original program, then he can write a virus to know where to insert the virus and to which piece of the virus. So for the entire knowledge of the same, the virus writer has to be smart, and he needs to know the exact structure of the original program, right? So this was the third type of the virus. I hope we have understood. So we have started with the understanding of what is a Trojan horse. Then we taken our concentration towards understanding of what is virus, and then we have seen what are the types of viruses, and then we have seen how the virus can attach itself. Any doubts so far? Any doubt in the virus is concerned? And if it's not, we'll start with the next one. That's the next malware, which is on worms. Okay. Very good question, Gokul. Which is dangerous, Trojan or virus? See, again, it depends. Now, whenever we are saying that the Trojan, what it happens is it stays in your, as I said in Trojan, what actually happens is it does what the attacker wants to do, right? So it can be more dangerous because if it's tried to convey the information to the attacker, the seriousness can be difficult. Now, probably again, just think if it is used as a zombie. Now, what is the concept of a zombie? I'll explain at that time. That when any of the machine turns zombie, how it can be so, I can say so powerful that it can even make the victim come down. Even that even the, I can say, the impact would be huge, right? When in case of the virus actually harms the program, and depending on what actually happens, it can affect your system. So now, as we have seen, we have various types of viruses. So depending on which type of virus it can have, the impact can be huge. Probably if it's a boot sector virus, if the virus gets attached to your booting, and if the booting does not happen, obviously, then your system will not start. So again, both of them are been meant to have a malicious, all the malware, to spread a malware. Very good questions, Gokul. Very good. Okay, I think I can see probably we have 3 minutes left. Those who have joined late are requested to kindly update their details in the chat box. Please don't forget to enter your details, your number, your name, and the roll number in the chat box. Uh, please do that so that your return gets counted. If the session gets disconnected, I'm starting with the warm. If the session gets disconnected in between, kindly join back in next 10 minutes. Okay. So next, I'll just start, but I'm not sure whether I'll be able to complete or not. But then let us start. Next type of malware is called as a worm. Now, what is a worm? A worm is a standalone program which is designed to replicate itself in order to spread to other computers. I'll just repeat the definition. It is I can say it's a standalone malware program that replicate itself in order to spread to another computers. So now when I'm using the word replicating itself, it means it is going to spread itself with the help of a computer network. So with the help of a computer network, it is going to spread itself. Now again, if you see the definitions very correctly, you'll come to know that it's a standalone malware program. So it means it can create its replication with the help of a network and by feeling and ensuring that your victim or the target machine gets compromised. Now, to make it more clear or to make it an understanding in much depth, probably when we are going to meet again in the second session, we'll try to understand it in detail to make a clear understanding of what the worm is. So, will they end this session here and kindly join back in the next session. Thank you, everyone. I hope every one of you have written the details. Okay, kindly join back in 5 to 7 minutes. Thank you, everyone.